So let's rename that our rear lens grommet. Now I'm just making stuff up. We have a couple more sketches, but they're going to be really simple. So let's select the right plane, hit the L key for line, zoom in a little bit, and let's start drawing this. I'm going to go across, create 1, 2, 3 stair steps, go all the way back, close that off, go ahead and add the constraints that we need. Let's make those collinear. We can add a smart dimension here, and we could even go ahead and link that value to our clearance value, just like the others. We can make the total height of this 2.6 millimeters. And there's a distance between this line and that line that should be 1.75 millimeters, and we need to flip it. Click OK. And that has messed up our shape a little bit. We can fix that. I want for these two dimensions to be equal, and I want for these 3 dimensions to be equal. And let's set this to be 1 millimeter across. Now we have a fully defined sketch, but there's one more feature I want to add. Let's go up here to the Sketch toolbar, drag down the Sketch Fillet option, and say Sketch Chamfer. That's going to let us create a chamfer. In the Property Manager, I'm going to set that chamfer to be a 1/2 millimeter, 0.5 millimeters, and zoom in over here on this corner. I want to click on that corner, and it's going to warn me. At least one sketch constraint is about to be lost, chamfer anyway, and I just click Yes. What happened here is it created a chamfer, and you can see that there's 2 chamfer values here, and they happen to be linked values, so I could change these if I want to 0.25 or back to 0.5. But we've lost that equal constraint that was making all these nice and even. So if I drag one of these points, you'll see I'm able to actually change these. No big deal. We can just go ahead and select this distance here, set that to 1 millimeter, and now we'll be fully defined again. Let's go ahead and exit that sketch and start a new one. We'll grab the right-hand plane, click on the, or hit the L key again on the keyboard, click to define a line, come right out, and just make shape something like this. Add a couple of constraints. We'll make that back edge collinear. Add our 1/4 millimeter clearance. Make these 2 edges collinear. Grab our chamfer tool. Add another 1/2 millimeter chamfer right there. I know that the depth of this needs to be 1 millimeter. Make these lines collinear. Make this 1 millimeter. And make this 1 millimeter. One more thing. Throw one more dimension in here. We'll make that 1.5 millimeters. And now we have another fully defined sketch. We can exit the sketch. And the last sketch of our lens revolve. Let's go to the right-hand plane again. Hit the L key on the keyboard for line. Start with a horizontal line toward the top. Come down to the bottom. Across the bottom. Mouse up and then go back down. Mouse over that point again to create a tangent arc, or a perpendicular arc in this case. Click to close the shape. And we are basically there. Just take this back edge, make it coincident in the back. Add our clearance. Add a 1 millimeter clearance between the outermost part of the lens and the inner lens. And finally, give this arc a 25 millimeter radius. With a fully defined sketch, we can now exit the sketch and we have everything we need. We just need to go through and name these. Call this rear lens outer, rear lens inner, and rear lens. Done. Now, let's go back to the isometric view. And just like before, let's create some of those revolve features. I'm going to go up to the Revolve Boss Base tool in the Features tab of the toolbar ribbon and select a sketch like this f-stop profile, select an axis of rotation, leave the settings, and hit the checkbox, or just hit enter on the keyboard. Then I'm going to go through and do that for each and every one of these. Just select depth of field profile and the axis, hit enter. Now, I could have done all of these in a single sketch, thus making it so that I could just do one big revolve and everything would revolve all at once. But I'm telling you now, your life will be a lot simpler in the long run if you keep your sketches small and simple. Instead of having one huge, extremely complex sketch, it is much easier and much more robust to have lots of simple, separate sketches. Just warning you now. Another nice thing about having these all separate like this is that we're going to be able to go in here and rename all of these as appropriate. So here I'm going to rename this the f-stop ring, and go through and rename each one of these. Now I've renamed all the features and they're nicely listed here in our feature manager. I'm going to right click on the axis and hide it so we don't have to look at that anymore. I can also right click on this original sketch and hide that as well so we don't have to look at it. There's also an origin element visible in the center of my document. It may or may not be in yours. To hide it, I'm just going to come up to the heads up display in the little glasses icon and click to hide the origin. And now we just have one big, like, bright, polished metal thing. And I just noticed that one of these bodies is hidden. This interface item that we originally created, we'd hidden, so I'm going to show that. And here we go. It's all metal. Doesn't look all that convincing, plus it's a little hard to see it because there's just so much going on. Let's go ahead and see if we can't change that. I'm going to right-click on the lens and come up to this Appearances drop-down. I'm going to click that and then choose the Lens Revolve. Then I'm going to be given the opportunity to change different properties having to do with the appearance of that lens, or come over here on the right-hand side and select from a whole bunch of different possible preset materials. In this case, let's use a plastic, go to High Gloss, and we'll just choose a High Gloss black plastic. And I also want to choose this back feature as well, so that both lenses become that High Gloss black plastic, and then click the checkbox to exit the tool. Now I can go through and assign materials all to the rest of these. This inner one I want to be a nice matte black, so we'll use Appearances, choose the feature itself, and then this time I'll choose Low Gloss Materials, and find the dark gray low gloss plastic, and just apply that to several other things. I'm going to go through here and select everything that I think needs to be that same dark gray low gloss material. Okay, and finally I want some black high gloss stuff, so I'll select that feature, change that to a medium gloss dark gray. Do the same with this, and that should do it. Now we have the beginnings of our lens, and all we have to do is add some details.